having this replacement engine gives me the opportunity to prove the fact that what I already know is that the ZSB manual is wrong. It's completely wrong regarding the clearance for the valves. This engine is pretty much brand new. It's not even reached its first service yet. It has 480 miles on it, and it's got the service history, and it hasn't been serviced yet. It hasn't had its 500-mile initial service yet. So if I check the valves on this and it's 0.01, the manual's correct. If I check the valves on this and it is, as I suspect, 0.1, then we know the manual's wrong. Okay, so what does the manual say what the valve clearance should be? It doesn't actually state anything, but if you look in the troubleshooting guide, it says 0.05 millimeters. Now, when I first saw that, I thought that cannot be right. That's far too tight for this sort of engine, for an exhaust valve. And it's basically 0.05 is impossible to measure. It's too small. There's no feeler gauge that goes down that small. It is very, very difficult. Sort of closing clearance for a Ducati, which is a 0 clearance, and that is barely deceptible play. So I always suspected that was wrong. I've never set my bikes to that. I believe it should be 0.15 or 0.1. Right, so checking the valve, the exhaust first. Can you read that? I don't know if you can make that out on there, but that is a 0.10 feeler gauge, and that just slides in very neatly. So I suspect that valve was always set to 0.1. Now, if it's set to 0.05 and it's closed up, I'd expect it to be smaller, but it's not. It's 0.1. The engine's done 480 miles, so that is quite damning evidence that that valve has never been set that tight and is set to 0.1 or 0.15. Okay, so I've rested my case there. The factory are not setting them valves to 0.05 or 0.01 or whatever 0 clearance they're coming up with. They're setting them to 0.1 or 0.15, which is a much more realistic value. So my recommendation to anyone with a ZSB, and that's how I set my bikes, is 0.10 for the inlet and 0.15 for the exhaust.